For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
Welcome back to Dunkin' Donuts, and Craig, we have some exciting guests coming up on the show this week.
We do. We have some. We just actually took part in a real-life scene from a movie in Hollywood.
I know, so we figured we had to go to a coffee shop and act although I think they'd probably go to Starbucks or something fancier.
They probably do.
But, we're not going to, just because we're highfalutin and hanging out with bigwigs.
Super bigwigs.
Right, in Hollywood, people who've directed movies you would have heard of.
Yeah.
But also, we're still, we're not above hanging out with a common man.
We're with the little guys.
We're exactly right. We're going to hang out here in Dunkin' Donuts.
We aren't the little guys, but we hang out with the little guys.
Yeah, So we're gonna have here. I'm having my nice. I gotta go with a warm coffee today. Hot, extra cream, no sugar.
It is so hot and humid still, though.
I know, but sometimes a good warm coffee.
That's true. That's true. Not for me, though. Not for me. Iced coffee still. Mocha.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we haven't done it in a while. We haven't done a "Where Are They Now" segment.
That's true. That's true. And actually, "Where Are They Now" is an intriguing place to start for us because of where we are in the "Where Are We Now" series.
Right.
Which would be.
Last time we did through episode, I think it was like 16
we
games
did,
we reviewed.
We did.
So we're going back all the way back to episode 17.
October
you think about it,
2008.
Yes, that is many years ago.
Many.
But back then, the game we were excited about, and this segment, by the way, just to preface, in case you did not listen to the first one of these, is we're going to go back and look at games we reviewed many moons ago and see if we're still playing them, if we're not still playing, what we think of them today. Are they still as awesome as we told you they were back in some time period like October 2008? And Craig, what was the big game back then?
Well, ironically and intriguingly, considering that I'm wearing a Pacific Rim T-shirt right now.
Where did you get a Pacific Rim T-shirt?
Oh, I got it from Ripped, man. Look at that. Jägermaster. Jägermaster.
I have the soundtrack right here, but I'm going to turn it on right now when we talk about this. Right, here we go.
Now, you probably don't need any more hints as to what we reviewed in episode 17, but it was Monster Apocalypse.
Yep. And we're going to get sued now for using that music with Monster Apocalypse.
That's right. Somebody's just crouching, waiting.
Yes, so of course we reviewed Monster Apocalypse back in October 2008. It just hit the streets. We were very excited about it. We had a giant contest, Name That Photo.
We had a bunch of stuff we had just bought at Gen Con.
Eric Yapel had been on the show from Privateer Press talking about the awesomeness of the game. And so where is it now? Are people still playing it? Are you still playing it? Do you even have your stuff still?
Sadly, Russ, I do have my stuff, but
sadly
I only have half of my stuff. I did sell my Martians, but that's okay, because there weren't no Martians in Pacific Rim, baby. Just giant robots, which is what I still have.
Right, I am totally stoked to play this game again because of Pacific Rim. I mean, I still have the theory. This is my personal theory.
Russ has a conspiracy theory.
So back when we interviewed Matt Wilson for the very first time, in or around 2008 or 2009, I can't remember which.
It was 9-10, actually.
Okay. He was talking about the idea that he'd gone to Hollywood and pitched Monster Apocalypse.
That was more recent. That was way more recent.
As a movie, about 2 years ago, though.
Yeah.
And when he pitched Monster Apocalypse as a movie, actually there was a press release saying that a studio was going to pick it up and do Monster Apocalypse the movie.
They had huge names attached to it.
Right, it was like Tim Burton or somebody.
It was huge.
And then it just fell off the radar.
After Matt Wilson moved to Hollywood.
Right. And then about a year later, all of a sudden, Monster Apocalypse, Pacific Rim coming out. So, but long and the short of it is, I don't care. I love Pacific Rim, and now I want to play Monster Apocalypse again. And the best part about Monster Apocalypse is, it's a really full-featured gaming experience, board gaming. Like almost miniature war game level, war machine level, all kinds of cool tactics and boost your dice and all that stuff experience in the game. Yet it's got these great pre-painted components. And my daughter now, my youngest daughter, wanted to see Pacific Rim so bad. She loves it. And now I'm going to start teaching them Monster Apocalypse.
There you go.
So that's my plan. So I think this is still a good game if you've got it. I think the thing that killed it the most was the collectability.
To this day, I don't know why they did that.
And they sort of undid it, but it's still there. And I think if they had made it collectible.
Has there ever been a game that started out collectible and tried to undo it and succeeded and is still alive?
No, but there are games that are still collectible, like Magic, that are still around. But I think Magic might be the exception that proves the rule. There are not many other collectible games out there anymore.
Right. And I think, and I mean, let's not oversell this. This game has been collecting dust for 3 years.
No, it has been, but I think. But if you've got it planned,
the zeitgeist dictates
And
we bring it out.
It's definitely a fun game, and if you do find it sitting around on a shelf for cheap, you won't be sorry if you pick it up. I think
true.
you'll like it.
That's true.
All right, so that was episode 17. Then in episode 18,
Yeah.
we talked about Serenity, the RPG.
Right.
Now, this is also very interesting timing. It's funny.
It is
only
indeed.
a few short years later, 5? It's 5 or 6? 6 years. Oh my God, it's been 6.
Don't
We've been,
do it.
What?
Don't
We've
do
done
it.
the show
Don't
for
do
how
the
long?
math. Don't do the math. It just hurts.
We are insane. Anyway,
How old are we? That's
So,
the question. Oh
we don't
my
wanna know.
God.
Now, the game was not brand new when we started playing it. Was it brand new? I don't think so.
It was
Serenity?
not. It was about a year. I mean, we got got Jamie Chambers, the writer, to come on. And
We did. And so Margaret Weis Productions came out with Serenity, the RPG. And the deal here was it was based on the license from the movie
Right.
Serenity, not the TV show Firefly, which is because they're produced by different studios.
Slightly different.
So, and that was it. And we played it. What do we think, Craig?
I love it. I loved it then. I love it now. I haven't played it in forever, but after this, after we did this review, I was doing that. We did that play by email
Yeah, we did. It was fun.
campaign that lasted a long time.
I fell in love with the Cortex system. So this uses
Yeah.
the Cortex system, which is sort of like
There are a lot of systems now that use the same or similar system where you're
Right.
dice rolling, but the dice are dictating a story.
Yes, exactly right. It was a great system. I really enjoyed it. I also liked how they made the ship the character,
Yeah,
which was
yep.
neat. But it wasn't a very crunchy system, so it was really much more of a storytelling,
Yeah.
like less really detailed,
My
like
preference.
where's my guy standing on the map to fight system. It was not that. It was
Yeah.
just, I'm approximately 10 feet away. I draw my
And
pistol.
sadly, that the game got a couple supplements. It got a little support, and then it kind of tailed off. And then they lost the license, which
But
is sad.
the reason it's funny,
Well, I was going to say Savage Worlds really took the place of the Serenity Cortex system for me for a while. But why is it funny, Russ?
it's funny because Margaret Weis Studios just announced not too long ago that they've got the rights to the Firefly TV series and is doing an RPG right now.
Yep.
And they'll have some preview stuff available at Gen Con.
And you better
next month.
believe I'm all over that.
So I'll be all over that too, and it looks fantastic. And so again, and I'm guessing it's going to be. They've not announced any mechanics. I'm guessing it's going to be Cortex, but this time it's focused on the show, so there won't be anything from the movie. But now there'll probably be plenty of stuff from the shows.
And let's be honest, there's more cool stuff in the show than in the movie.
Exactly right. I mean, yeah.
And
exactly
there's
right.
nothing in the movie you can't extrapolate from the show.
Exactly
is
right.
what
So
I'm
that
saying.
was Serenity. So would he play it again? Well, you probably have trouble finding it, but when the Firefly RPG comes out, it'll probably be the same game with a new thingy. So why not? All right, that was then episode 19.
Yeah.
We reviewed a game that I know, Craig, you have in your personal collection.
I do have in my personal collection.
A Touch of Evil.
A Touch of Evil from Flying Frog. Now, Karen loved this game.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, but the game suffers from it has no timer.
Yes.
It has no limiter.
That was my complaint in the review back then, too.
And the problem is persistent to the point where continued plays really showed that weakness.
It outstays its welcome a little bit.
Yeah.
It needs to be a little shorter. right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. To the point where it just doesn't make it. Didn't even soon after the review, it really didn't go back to get back to the table, but 2 or 3 more times, and each time it just felt like it outstayed its usefulness, and it was sadly not to survive as a staple.
Now, yes, and so that was Touch of Evil. I would still play it again, but I do wish it had some kind of game-ending mechanic.
Yeah, and it suffered also from another weakness that tried to be a strength, which was too many modes of play. I thought
Right. Yep.
the components were all designed to work in so many different ways that it muddled the overall impact of the game.
No hate, but we found games that do similar theme a little stronger. We think.
Exactly.
Now this
Cool
is
components still.
very Flying Frog has some fantastic components, no doubt about that. Okay, so episode 20,
Yes.
we did. This was a really interesting episode. We did an Uncharted Seas detailed review.
Right.
Now this is way before Craig had any working relationship
Yep.
with
I had
Spartan Games.
They had no idea who I was.
Know who we were from Adam. We didn't know them, except we bought the cool little boat, started playing with them, thought it was fun, and
We
did a
got
review.
We did Russ and I together did
We bought it when it first came out.
the original bundle.
We did. We bought it
from
right up
England.
and we reviewed it, and it was really one of our big, if I may be so bold, one of our breakout episodes because we were the first podcast to review Uncharted Seas, and to this day, it's one of our most downloaded episodes. People got really excited about it,
Yep.
and so let's do it now. what makes me sad is that very recently, the reports of their death was greatly exaggerated.
It was exaggerated.
By yours truly. I'm not going to lie. I own the fact that I did say Uncharted 2 was done. It's not done. It's just not being distributed to retailers anymore.
Right. You have to get it online through the company.
So you have so in my mind, they're still producing them. They're still spinning them. They're still selling them, but clearly not in the same quantities. And clearly, it's not a mainline. They're obviously
more of a specialist game.
Yeah, they're obviously trying to make room on store shelves for other SKUs they think are going to be stronger, like Dystopian Wars, etc.
Dystopian Legions.
And Dystopian Legions. So clearly, I think Spartan thinks they have stronger products now. But it's a shame because I've always had a really soft spot for the fantasy Age of Sail games. And while I do agree that Dystopian Wars has got a better rule set, and if I was going to play a naval game, I probably would choose Dystopian Wars for this rule set. The imagery and the ships of Uncharted Seas, and I still have my whole set of ships.
And I would disagree with that, Russ, because I would say that I really enjoy the Uncharted Seas rule set because it is simpler and cleaner to me. And as far as where is it now, I did a whole campaign for Spartan Games last spring, which was awesome, but one of the last gasps of the game as a mainline game. I also did very recently in the last few weeks play another game of it. It makes it to the table occasionally. I really enjoy it. It's a simple, fun beer and pretzels at that level, and I enjoy it. I think it's still a very strong naval game. Without, especially if you stay away from some of the more complex components like flyers and things like that, which I do agree that Dystopian Wars does better. But no, I think it's still a strong game. I think the models are even better. I mean, we should talk just for a second on the fact that they redid a year ago. They redid all the sculpts, so now all the sculpts are digital. The detail is crazy.
Yeah, I would not let you let the fact that this is now a direct order only game put you off from getting into it. If you like the sculpts and the new versions are so nice, I mean, the old ones were still great. I still own the old ones side by side with the new ones, but the new ones are so much more detailed.
Yeah.
The mechanics are fine, as you said, Craig. And if you don't want to add all the extended rules and just keep it with the core stuff, it plays really nicely, really quick, and looks great on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Now, next up was what, Craig?
Dark Heresy.
Well, what another quinky dinky.
It is a quinky
We didn't plan this at all, by the way. This is just
actually.
happening.
This is,
just like we happen to be in Dunkin' Donuts all the time. None of this is planned.
Exactly.
Right.
Dark Heresy, of course, was the original 40K roleplay from Fantasy Flight Games, and of course, that was Ross Watson. Our introduction to
First
Ross
time he was ever on the
Watson.
show, back in episode 21 in December of 2008.
That's how long we've known Ross.
And he was just on the show last episode, too. It's kind of freaky.
Crazy. Now, this is interesting because they just announced what, Russ?
Well, they just announced Dark Heresy version 2.
That's right. And now I can actually say that the big super secret thing I was working on was I did the entire bestiary for the very first adventure in Dark Heresy version 2.
That's pretty exciting. Now, are the mechanics totally different?
The mechanics are very similar.
Okay, so
yes.
I was curious about that because one of my little gripes against Dark Heresy, my biggest gripe against Dark Heresy is you play a window washer.
Right.
But my secondary gripe against Dark Heresy was that it is because it was originally built by GW. Fantasy Flight just inherited the game and then has produced a fantastic stable of supplements for it. But it's got those core, percentile dice mechanics, which are very classic, and some people love them. But it is, you can tell it's been around a while.
It is the opposite of the Cortex system,
right?
Yeah.
So I was curious if they're going to reboot that whole thing, although it may compatibility issues with the other games.
What you're looking at basically is they inherited the system for Dark Heresy, and then slowly added their own twist and their own unique template onto that for the next the Rogue Trader and Death Watch and Black Crusade. And so what you've got now with Dark Heresy is basically bringing all that into line, bringing that game into line with the games that are more, the DNA is more of a mix rather than just a direct infusion. But at the same time, the goal was really to simplify a lot of the stuff and to mainstream or to streamline a lot of it. So a lot of the NPC work really got got worked on. So the actual mechanics haven't really changed that much. What has changed is a lot of the templates and the way that NPCs work and things like that, learning from the other game systems.
Yeah.
So and
That's
you
cool.
do still start as a window washer, but it does come with in the basic rule book with the ability to be an Inquisitor also.
Oh, that's good. So well, that's exciting. So, and I think they just announced the beta test for that, right?
I believe they
in
do.
the near future. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. Go to their website. Or I'm sure there'll be stuff at Gen Con as well.
Yeah.
All right. So then we did one of my favorite games still to this day, and this
one
game,
of Russ's favorite games.
this game is not falling off the planet at all.
No, it is not.
Is Galaxy Trucker.
Yep.
I love this game. It was my first Vlada game, and it's the game where you put all your tiles in the middle of the table, and it was one of the first also sort of simultaneous real-time games I ever played where every player is grabbing tiles from the middle at the same time, trying to build their spaceship out on this grid, and then once everybody's done with their ships, you fly them in this sort of cargo transport race system, and you watch your ships fall apart and laugh hysterically and or get frustrated if you're Craig.
Yes.
But this game actually just came out with its third supplement, actually, just was hitting the streets, but I love it. I own a copy. I think quite a few people in our game group have a copy.
They do. And in fact, I played it just 2 months ago.
Right. So it gets played a lot. It's still a great game. This is I would highly recommend this game to anybody looking for something a little different.
Yep.
And it's also a great family game, or just with the people who aren't necessarily hardcore gamers, because it is just such a wacky, not a very thinky game.
Right. Not a very thinky game. You could put it that way.
That's the way I would
Although
put it.
I try to do it not thinky, and I lose every time.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
think
it's a little more thinky than Russ thinks.
Maybe it is. So that is Galaxy Trucker.
Yeah.
That was back from 2009 January.
Yep.
So then we get to like February time period, which is our 1 year anniversary back in the day.
Yes,
I know, right?
Remember that, huh? Temple Con.
Yeah. So let's see. Well, we didn't in episode 24. We didn't really do any game reviews. We talked to Gale Force 9. That was back before they even had a game system. They made games. Now they do, but which is kind of interesting. But then we went to TempleCon. We talked about an XCAM system, which, by the way, are we still playing our XCAM system, Craig?
We have done several XCAMs actually since we did that. So yeah, and I still get requests. I have it up on my blog at McNerdiganspub.com, and you can get the Dystopian Wars version of the XCAM right there, and you could get that and pretty much doctor it into most other game systems also. And we had a 40K one, we had a War Machine one, and people have been asking that. And every couple of months we send out a file because people enjoy it and are looking for ways to implement it and spice up their miniatures games.
Exactly
so yeah, that's still going strong.
And so that was that. And then in March of that year, so episode 26, we reviewed StarCraft the board game, and this is right when the Brood War expansion came out. So this board game's had sort of an interesting trajectory. Fantasy Flight a couple years ago lost the Blizzard license. So all their Blizzard games went to an end, including StarCraft. They don't produce it anymore. However, this is still one of my favorite. This is my version of Twilight Imperium. I say that because it plays a lot shorter than Twilight Imperium, but I know a lot of people have Twilight Imperium. They break it out once in a while and just have that nice big game of something. This is my version of that. I had it out about 2 months ago. I bring it out about every 6 months or so. There's a group of guys at the store we play at that really likes this game. I love the Brood War expansion. I think if you can get, it's hard to find this game now. It's actually quite a bit of money on eBay because they don't make it anymore. If you can get it with the Brood War expansion, that's the best way to play it. The Brood War expansion fixes a couple things that made the game take a little longer than I think it should. Still a lot of fun, fantastic plastic components. This is produced back in the day when they made the coffin boxes at Fantasy Flight, these massive games full of massive components for massive amounts of money, but who cares because it's a massive game. So I still love this one. It's still it's one of the, I consider one of my crown jewels of my collection. And I love playing it.
Yeah, I did not enjoy it when it came out, and I still don't enjoy it. It's too much for me, and
it's very heavy, very heavy.
It's heavy and it's abstract. It's a very strange mix to me of abstract and concrete.
It is weird, and I will admit I like how the building system works. It emulates the video game very well, but it is extremely fiddly, hard to teach, and makes it less compelling unless the player really wants to learn the game. There's much better implementations of taking over the Universe 4X type games in StarCraft, but I just love it so much for theme.
We have a lot of friends who still love it, and it comes up on a fairly regular basis where folks want to play it again. So I wouldn't say anything bad about it. I mean, I did not enjoy it, but I do know a lot of people.
And whenever I tweet or I put on my email list for the game group, hey, I'm thinking of playing StarCraft, I always get 6 people, no problem. It's not a problem at all. So it's
Phil's right
still a fun game. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of interesting to revisit this. So then back in March of 2009, in episode 27, we decided to do a topic. We like to, one of the taglines on our show is controversial. So, and our very first episode, if you remember, Craig.
Yes.
Episode 1, we debated, we did our sort of like GW versus Privateer Press little fanboy debate.
Yes.
But this was funny because in episode 27, we decided that Privateer Press might be jumping the shark. This is when they were talking about, I think, Mark II and all kinds of craziness, and so we thought it would be kind of fun to talk about. Are they really going to destroy their system when they did it? I think it's safe to say they maybe did okay.
Yeah,
but,
I think they did okay.
Kind of at the time we were even us fanboys like Rafe and I were getting nervous for them, but they did a fine job, obviously. At least the War Machine, they've had their set of games that didn't go so well, like Grind stuff, but War Machine's rocking it. Let's see. So that was...
And Monster Apocalypse.
And Monster Apocalypse, right.
Yeah.
So
there have been missteps, but War Machine and Horde's not one of them.
Yeah, they know where the bread's buttered, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. April of 2009, we started talking about, let's see. Well, that was... that was...
Bang.
Bang. Oh, Bang, yes. That's a great game. So, Craig, have you played Bang in a while?
I played Bang not this past PattyCon, but the PattyCon before that, and I don't like it.
I still own Bang. I like Bang. And Bang, just as a reminder, it's the game where it's a social game. Usually you have 4 to 5 players, even more, and you're all cowboys, and everybody's got a role, but the role is hidden. And so some of you are sheriffs, some of you are outlaws. One of you is a renegade, and you're all trying to kill certain people, but you don't know who you're trying to kill. So you got to kind of sort of like probe by shooting people to kind of figure out by their actions who's on your side and who's not. I like it. I like the theme a lot, but it can outstay its welcome very easily when people take it too seriously. So you got to have the right group of people with Bang, I think.
Yeah, and I am not that.
Yeah, I have fun with it, but it is... Oh, Craig, this next one I think you will be enjoying. What was the next one?
Yeah, the next review in episode 29 in April of 2009 was Cutthroat Caverns.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And Cutthroat Caverns, that was Kurt's first, I believe, appearance on the show.
It was.
And, of course, big friend of the show ever since. And Cutthroat Caverns still comes out on a fairly regular basis. It was a huge game at our board game night at Adepticon. And it's a great game. I played it just in April.
Right over there on the floor, speaking of friends of the show, Kurt gave us a copy of Fresh Meat, which is awesome. It's a giant box version of the game. The reason it's in a giant box is that it has the expansion only, but it's got enough plastic and room in it for all your Cutthroat expansions to go into the box, and it adds the long-awaited ability for you to customize your characters with special powers and abilities. Played it just the other day, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Fell in love with the game all over again and kept asking myself, why do I not play this game every week? It's just such a fun game. It's a great social game. It's not a thinker game. It's a great screw your neighbor game. It's just a lot of fun. And it's very easy to control time. Just put less monsters in the stack. It's one of those really easy games to play and have fun with, and so much replayability.
Yeah. Oh, I have to say, just as a moment, to take a moment away from what we're doing, that I am heartened by how many games we reviewed 5 years ago that we're still playing.
Exactly right. We're doing very well here, actually. Still love that game a lot.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then, in episode 30, we just mentioned this, we did our War Machine Mark II analysis.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. So, Craig, what do you think? What do you think the general reception of Mark II's been those many years later?
I don't know of anyone who stopped playing because it was Mark II, and I know a lot of people who are playing now that weren't playing then. Yeah. So I would say wildly successful. I know that you still play on a fairly regular basis. In fact, recently are in the middle of a resurgence and have been playing pretty much every week.
Yes, and I think not only
did
Mark II go very, very well, I think arguably that other companies are now imitating the way Privateer Press did their Mark II launch.
Yep.
Weird. Not in a bad way. I think it's great. No, I think they did a fantastic job, and I think it was interesting because I remember when we had Yak Face on the show so many years ago, and I was still in my Privateer Rocks, GW Sucks mode. Not now that I'm much more mature nowadays.
Oh,
so
yes,
I don't talk that way anymore. And he made a very cogent point when we were reviewing, I think it was 40K version 4 at that time, or 5. He made a very cogent point that, Privateer was still very early in their life cycle. Let's see what they do when they have more factions and have to rewrite the rules and how they handle it. And I think Privateer really showed some really interesting way to look at it.
What they showed was maturity.
I think they did too.
They showed maturity, and they showed the ability to learn from the mistakes of others.
Yep.
They stuck to their guns. They learned from the mistakes of the generic others.
Right, other companies.
And I think that what they did was they kept it very transparent, and they kept everybody working together. I mean, they had the fan base in there working with them in a way that really worked for the whole process.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And so I think that worked out pretty well for Privateer. So well on you for that, because that was probably a very scary time for you as well as your fans.
I would imagine.
Okay, in episode 31, we reviewed 2 games. 2 mints in one. We do that once in a while. And first we reviewed Munchkin. I think we reviewed 2 games because we want to have a game that we didn't really love as our main review. I think I have never been a huge Munchkin fan.
No.
Craig, have you ever been a huge Munchkin fan?
I have been a huge Munchkin fan, Russ, once of each set.
Yes. I find the game to have very little replayability. I think it's hilarious. I think the cards are fun. I think it's nice to read through them like you read through a comic book. But actual gameplay of Munchkin, I think Munchkin almost always outstays its welcome.
Yep.
For me.
I will play it like if it comes out. I have played it off and on, like probably played it 3 times since we reviewed it.
Right.
Over the intervening years, which is we're now 4 years out. But yeah, every new game has its awesome jokes, and if you love that theme, then you're going to really enjoy the jokes. But once you've read through the jokes, then you're playing Munchkin.
Right. And I know what you're thinking right now. If you're thinking, well, why would you review, you guys have this policy you've told us about before. You don't review games you don't really love. The reason we reviewed Munchkin, it's right here in the show notes, so I'm remembering, was that people were asking us after we described Cutthroat Caverns, a game about crawling through a dungeon and screwing your neighbor and having laughs. Well, isn't that Munchkin? And so we did in that episode the analysis, and I think it's safe to say that I can't remember the last time I saw a game of Munchkin being played by our local gaming group. I know I've seen it at cons once in a while and stuff, and I know Will Wheaton loves it and all that stuff, but I haven't seen actual people. But I see Cutthroat Caverns still gets broken out at all our major parties and stuff. So I think enough said there. The second game we did review though, and this is
classic,
instant classic. The day it was published, Small World by Days of Wonder.
Yep, absolutely, a game I loved and I still love.
Yep,
I didn't get to play it last week in Maine, but I had it with me. If I'd had some free time, it would have been played. It's
a go-to game. I recommend it just about anybody who asks me, hey, I like Ticket to Ride, or I like these and other games, and I'm looking for something a little different to play. It's just such a simple game to teach. It's got nice depth to it, fantastic components. Good for the whole family. My kids love this game. Absolutely love this game. Great game for gamers and non-gamers. It's just a must-own in your collection.
Yeah, I did play it actually just a couple months ago. I think I played it at PattyCon.
Oh, here's a little moment of history, Craig. In May of 2009, we got our new logo with Charlie on it.
We've had Charlie for a long time.
Charlie's been around a while.
Charlie the Cherub.
Yes,
Hi,
the D6G
Charlie.
logo.
Bye, Charlie.
Yes, there we go.
Okay.
That might be a trivia question at Gen Con. Tip. See, tip. How long has Charlie been around the D6G logo? If you've listened to this one, you know the answer.
There you go.
May 2009. You can win prizes. Be there. All right, next up. Episode 32. We didn't review any games. Moving right on, man. Okay. Let me see that. So let's see. That was May of 2009.
Speaking of missteps, and then we did our abortive attempt at marketing.
Yes.
Merchandising.
Yeah. We don't do well with merchandising.
No, we are not very good at actually monetizing this monster that we do.
No, but thank you. You guys listen to this are helping us do that, so we appreciate that.
That's true. You guys are really the only success we've had.
We discovered that only people that we make is what we talk. They don't care about these bugs and things with our logo on it.
They do love the logo.
They do like the
logo.
logo.
I love Charlie.
Thank you for that. Okay, so here we go. Episode 33, we did an intro to miniature wargaming, but really the key here is we talked about Warhammer 40,000 5th edition, our year 1 review.
Which means it had been out for a year.
Yes. I think Yak had been on the show. This is not, Yak Fish is not on the show now. This was just us talking amongst ourselves about it. So I think now, what's interesting now is 40K is now in 6th edition.
Right.
Since we talked about this.
So this is like kind of a moot point.
It's kind of a moot point, but it's still played in our area.
It is still played. Actually, we were going to play another campaign. The only problem is that the 2 people who really wanted to play the campaign are the worst magpies in our group. So when you get Ian and Will behind you to do a campaign, you kind of just sort of put it aside and don't do any serious work.
Right. So yeah, I think it's safe to say 40K is still doing well for most folks. You know, and so that's great.
Yeah.
Now, next up is we reviewed Race for the Galaxy,
Right.
which is a card space exploration game. It's pretty well known. I own a copy of this. Nicole also likes to play it. We haven't played it in a while. I still like it. My biggest problem with Race for the Galaxy is that it's challenging to teach all those funny icons. Although once you get it taught, it's a really nice, fun card game. Not collectible, not deck building, just a really interesting game where you work for victory points. I still enjoy it a lot. I'd play it anytime anybody said, I got Race, you want to play? I would be all into that. Some of the expansions I don't think did well for the game or I don't particularly care for. I really like the core game itself by itself. I think it's still the best way to play this game.
Never played it, never have.
There you go.
Okay, moving on.
All right. So that was back in June of 2009. And then we got to July of 2009 and we reviewed, so this is interesting. So here was another attempt. People were asking us, well, actually, I can't remember how this came about exactly, but
somebody who had some sort of power over us.
Oh, you know what it was? So here's what it was. I'll tell you. So this is when it's July 2009. The show's been out for a little over a year.
Yep.
And our friends at I'm trying to remember our friends who makes Are You a Traitor? I'm trying to remember. Looney Labs. Looney Labs sent us a review copy of this game. And it was like the first review copy we ever got. So we kind of freaked out. Oh, we got a review copy. Oh, my God. So we got a review copy. So we felt compelled to review it. Now, since then, we get tons of review copies, and so we can't review every game they send us, and we still stick with our D6G policy. But we were like, well, we really should review it. They sent it to us.
Right.
So we decided to get it on the show, but we don't want to review a game we didn't like by itself. So we decided to do a cage match.
Right. Because we didn't like it.
Are You the Traitor versus Werewolf?
Which we do like.
And are both Looney Lab games. Looney Lab has a werewolf version as well. So I'm thinking, well, that's good, because now we have two games they're making. So if we don't like one, we're backing up another one. So it was our sort of way to do that.
Hollow is them?
No. Miller Hollow's not them, but they have the original werewolf in a very set of
Looney Labs?
very drab cards. Yes. Anyway, so they had a Kickstarter too with cool little like eye things.
Was that Looney Labs?
Yes. It was.
Okay.
Anyway, so Are You a Traitor? Was terrible then. It's terrible now. It's a terrible game. Don't buy it. Don't play it.
Don't know that. You don't know it's terrible now because we haven't played it since we reviewed it. It could have gotten awesome. It could have like a chrysalis. It could have like a butterfly in a chrysalis transformed itself inside that little box into an awesome game.
I will actively run away from this game being played.
Yeah.
Werewolf, awesome. Just about any flavor. Are You the Traitor? Not. And in fact, since then, new games have come out like Resistance, which I haven't personally played.
I did.
Everybody I know thinks Resistance is fantastic.
I liked it.
Okay. So there's better ways there's better, social large player count games, including Werewolf, than Are You the Traitor. Just avoid it at all costs. There we said it.
There we said it.
Right. Then Gutshot, Craig. Gutshot.
Yeah, Gutshot.
Gutshot
was an awesome game. Gutshot is an awesome game. Gutshot got a lot of play and has still been getting play. I mean, right up to about a year ago, we had a huge... once they added, or they tried to add zombies, and we were actually involved in that, and we had the test rules, and we were... I was actually working with Mike, the guy who designed it. Things were going really well, and then I don't know what happened to Hogleg Publishing. You can still get Gutshot, I believe. It's out there. I don't think they ever did the supplement that they were planning, the Weird West supplement that they were planning. But it is an awesome combo minis / role playing, very light role playing game. It's a great rule set, and I still enjoy it, and I would play it if somebody asked me to bring in my terrain. I mean, I built an entire town for that game, which will coincidentally now be used for Wild West Exodus. But still, I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I have over 30 Wild West models just for Gutshot, and actually I have over 30 civilians that I got just for Gutshot, and over 50 zombies, cowboy zombies, just for that. So it was fun.
It's a good game if you can play it. If you like, it's like an RPG miniature combat hybrid. And I really like it a lot. It's a fun little
cowboy.
Game. Yeah. Okay, so then in episode 37, August 2009. On a plane to Gen Con, Craig and I are all excited about this new game, the new hotness.
Wide-eyed innocence.
The game that everyone was talking about in the gaming community. Couldn't wait to try it out.
First booth babes I ever saw at Gen Con.
Yes. Arcane Legions.
Yeah.
This is the game, and it's dead now.
Yes, it is.
I think I can say that unequivocally.
Yeah.
This is the game that was it was a collectible, so
Sort
blind
of.
purchase, sort of.
Partly.
And
All the cool things were
there
blind
was
purchase.
partly pre-painted and partly not.
Yeah.
But really interesting mechanics. It was sort of a miniature war game, but a simplified miniature war game. So it wasn't like super complicated like you'd find in a GW or Privateer Press product. But and it had a really interesting mechanics where your guys could change formation on their giant movement tray base.
Yeah.
And how their formation changed dictated some of their abilities. And as men died from attrition, you'd lose the ability to cover all your bases on your base.
And so you'd lose abilities.
And you lose abilities, which is really cool. I loved the mechanics. I loved how it wasn't complicated.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the sculpts.
Yep.
I liked the idea of it. There were two aesthetic issues I had. One was the bases looked so funny it couldn't.
Giant clunky, and
Yeah.
they ruined the miniatures aesthetic.
The aesthetic was ruined, and the collectability killed. I think it still killed this game. I really do.
Yeah.
But
they had all kinds of great ideas.
They had the four factions.
They had the online. No, they had 3 factions.
Oh, well, there's another problem. They only had 3 factions.
Yep.
They had good fluff, though. Good background
They had
material.
Good fluff. Yep.
So they were 1 faction short of a full deck, and they were collectible. I think two shots in the.
And that was 2 strikes. And when you got to the that element of the base being all clunky, there really wasn't much you could do.
Right. So let's see. The next episode, we did a bunch of Gen Con coverage, so no reviews there. That was August in 2009. And let's see. Then we got to September of 2009. I got time for maybe 2 more episodes to talk about here and wrap it up. Let's see. September 2009, see, this is a game I need to play. I have it in my closet.
Yep.
And I look at it all the time.
You know who designed that? Same guy that designed Chaos Ball.
I know.
Eric Lang.
I know. Chaos. Episode 39, Chaos in the Old World. One of the early games that Fantasy Flight produced for their new relation with the leadership with GW, right? They're ground out their own rules. Eric Lang was involved. Corey Kaniska, I think, was involved.
Yep.
It was and is a fantastic game.
Yep.
I cannot say enough good things about Chaos in the Old World.
No, I love the game. It was a really cool game. I enjoyed playing it. If somebody I wanted to play games with was playing this, I would play it with them.
I don't see it played super often in our group. I think it's only because we have so many games.
Yeah.
I would play it.
It fits into a category that it's not really 4X, but at the same time, it's that kind of you're spreading out over the board, your area control. There's so many of them that it's almost a theme issue. Right.
Well, I have played it since they released the expansion, which introduced Skaven.
Right.
And I really like that expansion. So I do like the game a lot. I would play it again in a heartbeat, but you're right. There are other themed games that are a little easier to teach and a little faster to play.
Yeah.
Although this game is so much fun if you get some Warhammer players sitting around. This is a game that should be brought to Adepticon. You could just hold it up and go, I'm about to play it, and be a bunch of people at your table.
Yeah.
So if you have any GW fans in your group at all, and they're looking for something to play that's a board game and take a break from miniatures for a minute, this is a fantastic game. And even for not that, it's a great game. The only challenge you might have is the theme is so dark.
Yeah.
It's not a great family game or someone who might be particularly strong.
Keep in mind, the board is stretched human skin.
Right. If someone's got very concerns about violence, this is not the game for them.
Right.
Otherwise, though, it's a great game. Definitely should be on your list of games to own. And then, I know Craig's going to like this one. Episode 40,
September 2009.
Yep.
This was GW's big reveal with their new theme of revealing some really awesome, huge board game in August, September, and that was, of course, the reboot of Space Hulk.
Yeah, and the components in this version were OMG.
They were crazy.
Amazing. Even for GW, they're amazing.
The thickest card components we have ever seen, except for the original mountain tiles for Survive, Escape from Atlantis. And it was awesome. It was great. Unfortunately, it was this new thing that GW has decided where we're just going to launch a game out into space and not ever support it again.
Right.
So, it's I have it. I would love to get it to the table. It hasn't gotten to the table, and I'm sad.
And it was a limited print run. It's done now. However, I think you can still find it in stores. I don't think they made enough of them that they're still
but
out
you can
there.
you're going to
You can pay a lot.
like double or 250.
It's a fun
maybe.
game, and it's true to the original version.
Which means the weaknesses that made Russ not super like it are still there.
Yeah, I don't see it get played much.
No, you don't.
And the biggest problem in our group is it's only 2 player, so
that's
we have a lot
issue.
of. And what usually happens in our group, if you're playing 2 player, you're probably playing a tabletop miniature war game.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest downfall in our crew. But it's a great game to own. If you want a lot of replayability, and you've got you and a buddy, and you play the same person a lot, it's a great game for that because you can do a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
We got time for, I think, 2 more we'll squeeze in.
Yeah,
First,
well, come on.
now,
Let's keep squeezing.
This is near and dear to my heart because this is the first Impulse game I bought at Gen Con, and it was a runaway hit. I loved this game, and it was Russian Crush.
Right.
Still own a copy of this game. It is in my closet right over there. In fact, I look at it. I just almost brought it out. I haven't played it in a while.
Yeah.
But what's nice about it is it's extremely easy to teach, although the rule book is not extremely well written, but you can figure it out pretty easily. But once you know the rules, it's easy to teach to someone. It plays very fast, and it plays with high player count, 6 players.
Yeah.
And you got these little race cars, and you're racing kind of like Speed Racer. I describe it that way because it's not like Formula D where you're on sort of like a Formula 1 racetrack kind of thing. You're actually on a racetrack with like Speed Racer type obstacles where there's jumps and pits and minefields, and your cars have weapons and blades and guns and oil slicks, and it's just one of those crazy, smash your friend to a wall game.
Yep.
Yeah, did you enjoy this game, Craig?
I did. I mean, it's light, it's fun. Yeah. It's not something that you like plan your night around, but if it comes out, it's a fun way to hang out with 5 of your friends and play along.
And now we also covered 2 other games in this show.
Episode 41, I think, was the first threesome.
What an epic episode this was!
Trilogy.
Well, we did a Rogue Trader RPG review also. So we reviewed the board game Russian Crush. Then we reviewed the Rogue Trader RPG. We must have been up all night.
Awesome RPG.
And still. Actually, I think that might be my favorite.
I think so too.
Even above Space Marine.
Yeah.
Death Watch. I think I liked Rogue Trader the best.
I think the Rogue the origin system for Rogue Trader was awesome. I thought the mechanics for commanding a large group, whether it was a whole platoon of Imperial Guard or the entire crew of a starship, I think the theme was really cool because if you pretty much every other 40K RPG you're gonna do, you're really tied to that whole Imperium thing where it's going to be 40K RPG, whereas with Rogue Trader you've got all of that to fall back on, but you also have this whole wide open, we're leaving the Imperium behind kind of thing.
Right.
So I would definitely say it's still my favorite version of the now 5 that you could play.
Right.
And then Descent Sea of Blood is interesting.
Yeah, so Descent, we had an interview about Descent the Sea of Blood in this one, and this was before it came out, so we were all excited about it. I think actually Nicole interviewed her, so I think that's why we had the 3rd billing here. And Sea of Blood, I think we did a detailed review elsewhere, but I had a great time playing it until the very last battle.
Right.
And although I could say the same thing about Descent 2, I had a great time playing it until the very last battle.
There you go.
So I think I'm not sure that Fantasy Flight has really fixed the final battles in these games, but I still enjoy Descent. I do enjoy Descent 2 more than Descent 1. I know that's not a universal opinion in our group, though.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Some people in our groups think Descent 1 is superior to Descent 2.
Yeah.
I am not one of them. I don't, Craig, are you one of them?
I am not one of them. I enjoyed Descent 2. The group socially wasn't wasn't geared up for a campaign when I got it and got excited, so I couldn't put it together. And then you got excited just as you brought a group together, so you actually went through an entire campaign.
Yep.
I played a few games with a few friends. We got ready to go, and then we had the great schism of 2009, and
that was the end of that.
And that was the end of that.
Well, I should say that I played through the recent campaign in Descent 2. We've talked about it on the main show several times. Finished that up. I have purchased the latest new campaign for Descent 2, and I'm ready to. We're trying to figure out a time to start that up next in our same group. So clearly, I'm still playing lots of Descent, and it is probably my most. If you took every session, add all the hours up, it's probably the most played board game I own.
Yeah,
in terms of raw hours. So clearly, I'm getting my money's worth out of it, and I just do it as an enjoyable experience with friends. I don't worry about the fact that I may or may not be having a balanced session as Overlord, but. So I really obviously like it. And let's try to squeeze the last one here. Episode 42.
Well, this was never really a game for you or me.
No, this is one Rafe really wanted to review.
Yep.
And it's funny, I love the artwork. I did enjoy playing it. And it did have a very strong explosion in our group when it first came out. And that is Warhammer Invasion.
Yeah.
This is the card game based on Warhammer, the Warhammer Fantasy Universe. Rafe owns a copy. I think several other people in our group own copies of this. I haven't seen it played by any of them in a long time.
No, but they talk about it every now and then, and I know some of them are keeping up to date with the supplements and
still
things
buying
like
it. So
that.
it's definitely those who like it love it, but it was definitely not Craig or mine's favorite. I mean, both of us have gone on record saying we're not huge card game guys.
Right, yeah.
But that said, I'm going to be buying High Command when it comes out at Gen Con, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes. But yeah, I think it's, and that's probably it too. Maybe the theme doesn't quite catch me in this as much.
Right.
But I think if you're a Warhammer fan, I know enough people who love it that much that I think if you're looking at that, it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
The other weakness is it's a 2-player game. And I like the games that are, multiplayer from not play a miniature game. So great. So that takes us through, Craig. Now we are up through episode 42.
We did a lot of episodes.
We did. So at this rate, we're up to our almost the end of the second year of the show. So at this rate, we'll be caught up. We'll never.
No.
We're still producing episodes faster than we're reviewing old games. So we should probably do this more often.
We should.
All right. Well, what, you going to go one more coffee for the road here?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think I just got a phone call that's going to let me go see Pacific Rim again tonight.
Nice. See it in 2D.
I'm going to see it in 2D. It's all about the 2D.
And let me just do it out then here. I'm going to play a little music for you right here as we take it out. Yeah,
there we go.
Let's go squish some robots.
Yeah! Jägermaster!
I know I got to stop or get sued.
Yep. Okay, stop. You
Till
got
next time,
15
guys.
seconds. You got 15 seconds.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.